So Mark, you accomplished so much, right? Entrepreneurially and all your businesses. Like, is there anything that you still like to do?
I'm one of those guys that kind of doesn't know the answer to that because I like to do so much. I consider myself young and energetic and smart and fun and like to go learn all this stuff. I really like it. So as long as I'm doing what I like, and what I like is making money and finding niches and exploiting those niches and working on startup companies, I'll probably keep doing that. The fact that I'm in Texas is a hindrance relative to being in Silicon Valley, but the technologies have gotten to the point where you don't have to be in Silicon Valley anymore. Instead of getting 100 million, I'm happy making 1 million at a time on the things that they don't want to deal with because they don't have time. So whether it's a startup or investing in another person's company that's really doing well, the one thing I want to teach your folks is a business plan is essential. It shows who you want to invest, what you're thinking, where you see it going, and where you see it making money. Do not go to money or a venture capitalist or even your parents without a written plan to say, here's a 3-page plan and 1 page of numbers for the next 3 years. It'll cost this much to do it. It'll cost this much to manage it. It'll cost this much to hire someone. It'll cost this much to do the shipping. Whatever you do, have numbers with that plan. Answer the questions: who, what, when, where, why, and how much. Because the venture capital person, the investor, they can invest their money and make double their money in 5 years. They can put it in the bank and double their money in 10 or 15 years. You have to show them a way to double their money less than what they can do it elsewhere, so that you become a better option than those other options. And that means you have to know it better than anybody so you can then raise the money and prove your point.
Okay. What about like some of your biggest is there any setbacks that you had in business?
Oh, sure. You wouldn't be an entrepreneur if you weren't always learning. And a setback to me is someone's doing it better than I can, and I can do it better. I just didn't learn how. So my dad teaches the MBA program at college. And for those of you who want to go to college, I very much push college. I also push learning as much as you can about the subject online and from others. I think they're all important. But my dad teaches people a lot of information and then sends them off into the world. I went into college, got my 4 years, then I went into the world and I got my PhD from real hard work. Had I learned it first, I might have approached it differently. But the game is still the same. You've got to learn the market you want to play in, learn the market, the players, the competition, and get a leg up on the next guy. You have to have a competitive advantage. Faster, quicker, smarter, or a technology they don't have. If you don't, it doesn't mean you won't make money, but you'll have competitors. And the game is, if everyone is selling this, I want to sell the same thing, but smarter or faster or quicker or better communicator or a faster way to build my database. I need something that gives me a leg up. Once I have a leg up, I can run it and run it more efficiently, hopefully, and then continue to go. You know, it's like spinning hats on a wheel. You start this one, and then you run over here and start this one, and then you start the third one, and by then the first one's about to fall, so you got to get it going again. And the game is, how many can you get going? As an individual, you can only get 3 or 4 or 5 going, but if you hire other people, you can get unlimited. And you need to learn how to do that as well, or you'll be limited on how much money you can make.
So give us, just one story of a setback, and then like what you learned from it.
Okay. I went to the Consumer Electronics Show years ago, and I really liked it and said, everyone wants to go to CES to play with the technology. So I decided I'm going to create a trade show. It was called the Home and Family Computing Super Show. And the basics of it were, it was a CES for everybody. And I would come to your city, and you come into the convention center for 3 days and play with all the coolest gadgets. Hundreds and hundreds of booths filled with stuff to play. I ran the event. I ran 4 of them. and I staffed up a lot of people to run those 4 events. And if my numbers only were for 4 days, which showed a profit, that'd be great. But I had people and infrastructure and expenses and overhead. The problem was, after the 4th show, I had to keep those people for another 11 months before I could run the next show. And 5 months later, I was out of money because I had spent it all. I'd made money, but then I spent it all on the people, keeping them there so we could do the next set of shows. Because I hadn't planned on a spreadsheet. Here's the people working. Here's the overhead. Here are the days of the show. What do I do the next 12 months? I still have $10,000 a month going out to the people and no income. And $10,000 a month going out to the people and no income. And after 4, 5, 6 months of that, you realize I just lost $60,000 in people expenses. Even though I made $80,000 here, 6 months later, 8 months later, that money's gone. So I didn't think through far enough out.
Okay. So, I mean, you've been giving a lot of advice to young entrepreneurs. Is there anything else that you want to add that you didn't touch on?
Build your network. Build your network. If you like this video, send it to 50 friends and say, this guy really taught me a lot. You might like it. Number one, that'll build your network and it'll build my understanding of my book. But the game is for you to build your network, for them to build their network, for me to build my network. And that means you share with each other knowledge and information, because when you share information, you both have it. You don't lose anything by sharing information. You only gain, because someone's going to see it and say, that was really cool. Help me understand this. Or if you remember that guy said this, let's go use that knowledge over here, because you now have 2 brains working for it, or 3 brains, or 50 brains all working together. And that's how companies get to be big. They all work together because you got 1 brain, 2 brain, 3 brains, 4 brains, as many working on the same product, and everyone sees it a little different. And that's really important. I like to say something someone showed me at a conference. They said, here's how information works. I'm looking at that and I'm seeing a black screen. And you're saying, no, I see a blue screen. No, it's black. No, it's blue. Well, you're both right. You just see it from a different point. Oh, I see, it's blue. No, it's not, it's black. No, it's blue. No, it's black. So it depends on how you see something. You're both right, but you see it from a different perspective.
It's great. What about yourself? What do you see? What can people expect? To see from you in the next couple of months and years?
They go to getrichclick.com and they'll see everything about what I'm doing on that site, because we're constantly putting new information on the site to teach people how others are making money online. It's a community that we want to create so we can all share our stories and share our successes, share what worked and share what didn't, so everyone that's part of this community can make more money. And that's the goal.
Okay, so yeah, one last thing. You're running a contest called Gen Z, right? Is that still going on?
No, that's not going on anymore, because it was for the book when it comes out, and the book comes out May 2nd. So if you buy the book today, you'll get it the first couple days of May. But this contest was only going to be for the launch of the book.
Okay. All right. Well, Marc, thanks for this great interview. So again, the book is called Get Rich Click, and there's a ton of stories in there, and also ways to make money on the internet. So I like to say, if you're really gonna read from somebody, learn from someone who's gonna how to make money online. I mean, Marc's the guy. I mean, he's been around and he's been on the internet making money for so long that this is the guy to learn from.
I think the big difference is I started with nothing. My companies do $75 million a year, but I started with nothing. I had to go borrow $5,000 on my car to start my first company. And you don't need money to make money in this market. You can do it for free. I just showed you how with a digital camera. But if you don't take what you learn and do it bigger and better and faster and more efficient each time, you won't get rich. You got to stick with it and keep doing it more and more and more because it works. Now, I have friends that make money and they spend it as fast as they make it. That's not how you do it. You got to make it and save it and make it and save it and make it and save it. Then you got to decide, do I take some of my savings and reinvest it in learning, in going to conferences, in coaching, and other things that people can propel you faster towards your goal. That's what college does. It hopefully gets you to learn stuff before you can get there the normal way, the other way. Either way works. But building your network and managing your database and knowing what your people that are in your 400, the more you know about your 400 people, the more you'll make or be able to help them. And the goal, if I do this right, I have 400 buyers, but those 400 will tell 100 each. That's a lot of names. And that's what you do if you do it right and you teach people the right way. If I make $2 a book, so be it. But the book and the marketing and the advertising and the promotion, I'll never make money on the book. I have to make money in other ways. But the book teaches people how I did it and how you can too.
All right, there you have it, Marc Ostrofsky. All right, Marc, thank you for this interview.
No problem.